right, your turn for a story.
Okay. So when the European Space Agency's lander analyzed the chemical makeup of a comet called Comet 67P.
You said analyzed.
It discovered an unexpected olfactory cocktail. Traces of hydrogen sulfide, ammonia, sulfur dioxide, and hydrogen cyanide revealed that, the smell department, this comet smells like rotten eggs, little like urine.
It's a comet fart.
But also add some burning matches in there and almonds. It's basically the world's worst potpourri. And I got thinking, like, what else don't I know the smells of? And there's a lot. There's a lot I don't know. The smell of.
Comet fart sounds like another rejected Yankee Candle scent.
Comet fart.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. No, I mean, they've got some really bad smells. So I can't go in there without a headache. So I'm gonna say they might have it already, and I wouldn't.
Maybe.
know.
Okay.
The moon. Do you know what the moon smells like?
Moonness?
Moon and moonness.
Moonness.
Apollo astronauts reported that moon dust smells like burnt gunpowder.
How do they know this? This was determined when they brought it back to Earth, because I can't imagine Neil Armstrong pulling off his helmet and sniffing the moon dirt.
No.
I don't think that would be a wise choice. I mean, I'm no astronaut, but...
All 12 who walked on the lunar surface said the same thing. The smell arises when the dust, which is primarily composed of silicon dioxide glass and minerals like iron and magnesium, is exposed to oxygen in the lunar module.
Okay. Yeah, of course.
The oxidization process might mimic burning, which releases volatile compounds that create that distinctive odor. But interestingly, moon dust that is brought back to Earth has no smell. It's believed that it was altered by exposure to moisture and oxygen during transport, and that just does it in. No more smell for you.
Interesting.
Yeah. Space itself. Astronauts often say that space has a smell, and it's a bit like hot metal.
How do they know this? Again, how do they know? Because you can't bring space back to Earth and sniff it.
No, but you can smell it in the lunar module.
But wouldn't you die?
No. I imagine that you carry it in on you. Smells adhere to people all the time.
Okay, so yeah. So they go out and then they come back in and sniff their suit.
Yeah.
That's how they do it. Okay.
You could always tell the people, when I worked at the convenience store years ago, you could always tell the people who would smoke with their windows up.
Yeah, especially when it's a rainy day and they come in and their coat is damp.
Oh, so bad. Yeah. So the smell of space is actually a result of the reactive ions, which, like I said, hitch a ride on their spacesuits after they've been floating around. But it smells like a sci-fi barbecue gone awry. Like something's gone terribly wrong.
I see.
Dead stars. Now, this is theoretical. So don't ask me how people know this. It is a model that suggests that neutron stars might have the faint aroma of marzipan.
Well, that sounds delicious.
Right? This is thanks to cyanide-like compounds in their atmosphere. So if you're close enough to sniff a neutron star, good luck with that. Just remember, it's less dessert shop and more deadly poison.
Don't get a delicious pastry confused with a deadly dying star.
No. Whew. If I've heard it once, I've heard it 1,000 times.
My mom used to tell me that all the time.
Yep.
Don't jump on the sofa and don't go sniffing dying stars.
The Northern Lights. Aurora borealis has been said to produce distinct odors, often likened to burnt barbecue, fried garlic, or burning leaves. Now, this olfactory experience is thought to arise from the ionization process in the atmosphere, which so charged particles from solar winds collide with atmospheric gases, and that potentially releases ozone and other compounds that create these smells. And the intensity and the nature of the scents can vary based on environmental conditions, such as wind direction and the atmospheric composition. But I've never been able to see the Northern Lights in person. So I'm wondering if someone who has been able to see them in person can confirm. Did they smell? Did you smell the Northern Lights?
Well, we've received quite a few emails from Greenland and Iceland, and I imagine the aurora borealis is quite dramatic there. Also, Norway. We've got listeners in Norway. So
Sure.
Sniff the Northern Lights for us, if you would, and report back. Thank you.
Deep ocean vents, particularly hydrothermal vents, emit a very distinctive odor, and this is due to the presence of hydrogen sulfide, which is often described as smelling like rotten eggs.
Rotten eggs.
The chemical is produced when seawater interacts with sulfur-rich rocks beneath the ocean floor. And this is actually one of the ways that hydrothermal shrimp find their food. They follow the scent of the vent. And when they find a vent, they nom on that rotten egg sniffing
discharge.
Similarly, hot springs, geothermal hot springs like those in Yellowstone, often smell strongly of sulfur or rotten eggs due to hydrogen sulfide gas. Ant colonies. Ant colonies smell like a whack balsamic. Apparently, large colonies of certain ant species, like carpenter ants, have a surprising way of announcing their presence. They smell like vinegar. And this comes from formic acid. This is a chemical that they produce for defense and for communication. So if you get near enough ants, you might smell vinegar.
That's fascinating. I had no idea.
Burning diamonds. Not a lot of us will have an opportunity to burn a diamond in our life. So I'm here to tell you that allegedly it smells like a fresh box of yellow number 2s. The pencils.
Oh, my mind went someplace completely different.
Stop. Don't make it about poop.
Smells like yellow number 2s.
No. Who has a fresh box of yellow number? Stop. Ew. Stop. When a diamond burns, it produces carbon dioxide, which is odorless, but it can emit faint traces of graphite.
Okay, that makes total sense.
Pure crystalline carbon, diamonds have the exact same chemistry as graphite. They just have a different molecular structure. So when you burn a diamond, which you can, which never even occurred to me, it has a metallic, slightly musty scent like a pencil. Or my chest, I guess it's not lead. It hasn't been lead for a long time, but
somebody stabbed her with a pencil. And
it was me. I did it.
You did it. You stabbed yourself with a pencil, and
I did. Now I've got pencil stuck in my chest.
You can't get it out?
No.
Do you want me to help? I'll get some alcohol and a pair of tweezers or crimping pliers, whatever it takes.
You can't even help me put a Band-Aid on without feeling faint.
I get woozy. It's true.
Moving right along. Lightning strikes. After a lightning strike, the air often carries a distinct smell of ozone, which is a sharp, clean scent with a hint of chlorine. And here's why. When lightning strikes, the immense heat causes nitrogen and oxygen molecules in the atmosphere to split apart. And the atoms then recombine to form nitric oxide, nitrogen dioxide, and ozone. The ozone is what you're smelling. Ozone is a molecule made of 3 oxygen atoms. It's naturally found in the Earth's stratosphere. It protects us from harmful UV rays. Because of its unstable and reactive nature, ozone disperses quickly, making that fresh post-lightning aroma fleeting.
So it's like your basic ionizer that you have.
Something like that, yeah.
For your home.
Snow, similarly, snow technically doesn't have a smell, but it can trap and amplify scents in the air, including ozone. Sometimes fresh snow carries that faint, sharp smell reminiscent of ozone, especially after a winter storm. And this comes from the electrical charges in the atmosphere during the storm, similar to the lightning effect.
Having grown up in Maine, and you specifically grew up in Bucksport, there was a paper mill there. And I imagine the discharge into the air, the whatever it was they released from the mill, which didn't always smell good, was incredibly amplified by a snowstorm. I bet that was just unreasonable.
I never noticed. I didn't think our mill had much of a smell. It wasn't like some of the other mills that smelled sulfury.
Like Old Town or Lincoln.
Yeah, no, our mill to me smelled like wood chips.
Okay, well, you were lucky.
But it's true. When snow falls, it acts as a natural filter, trapping dust and pollutants in the air. And it can leave behind that fresh, natural scent. But if it's in a more forested area, the snow might smell more earthy. But if it's in a more highly polluted area, it might not smell as nice.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Ancient books. Ancient books smell like cake in an attic. Now,
okay. Right.
bibliosmia is a term used to describe the unique and often beloved smell of old books. This distinct scent arises from the breakdown of organic materials like paper, primarily cellulose, which releases various compounds over time. Here are some key points about bibliosmia. As paper ages, it can emit scents that resemble almond, vanilla. Some of the compounds responsible for this aroma include furfural. I don't know how to pronounce that. Fural, furfural, which has a sweet almond-like scent, and other acids contribute to the overall fragrance. Over time, there's also a mustiness that starts to emit, like wood pulp and inks and adhesives all breaking down. Factors like humidity and temperature, exposure to light even can affect how quickly a book will age and how this scent develops. So you can get that sweet vanilla almond smell. But you've also got decomposing book, which is going to smell not so great. So cake in an attic.
You remember the chicken barn, speaking of Maine and the Bucksport area, the old chicken barn. It was at one time a chicken barn, but they turned it into an antique and old book store. Oh. And the upstairs section was all old books. And do you remember going up the stairway?
Yep.
And smelling that smell? It's so nostalgic for me.
It's a magical place. The floors make that sound that you would expect old wooden floors
creaky,
to make.
Yeah.
And then the smell of the books and the old magazines. And
yeah.
It's one of my favorite places.
Ever in that area of Maine.
Go to the chicken barn.
Go to the chicken barn.
So that's all I have about things that smell that you might not know that they smell, or
it's amazing.
Might not know much about their smells. I got my information from Frostbeard Studio, Science Focus, auroracourses.eu, Mental Floss, and gemsociety.org.
As always, we really appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Again, our website is theboxofoddities.com. You can find all kinds of information there. We've relaunched the YouTube channel. You can check us out on YouTube. We have a newsletter now. It's like this little podcast is growing up, and it's because of you. We appreciate it. We'll see you next time.
Until then, keep flying that freak flag.
Fly it proudly, you beautiful freak.